So you're here on my new show called Highs and Hellos, and we're talking about hellos, some of those things in life, especially as diabetics, that we're not even really sure what they are. So today I'm really excited to have my little sister Dacia on the show with me, and we're here just talking about life with living with a sister with diabetes. I know, one, you probably didn't ask for a sister, and two, you probably didn't ask for a sister with a chronic illness. So, Dacia, what are your earliest memories related to my diagnosis that you can remember?
Uh, the day it happened, honestly, I know we talk about the night before, your last meal before you had to, give yourself a jab every time you need insulin and everything. But I remember the day, and it's kind of spotty too. I do remember visiting you at the hospital, but then I remember going back over to some friend's house because I wasn't there for all of the excitement, but I was there periodically and something was off. So I just remember all the back and forth and it was chaotic, but I mean, I was still kept happy. I got to go hang out with friends. I got to play games and everything. But then I came to see you. Something was going on.
Yes, I don't remember any of that. I just remember myself and being pretty upset that I had to be in the hospital. But I hadn't really thought about what you might have went through as someone, one, you were like maybe five, maybe four.
Uh, yeah,
We're
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're we're pretty spread
Around
out.
me.
You were a baby, so I'm just glad you even remember anything.
I think when you were at the hospital, you even got to like put your name on the wall, but it was like a basketball or a star or something. I remember
Yeah,
that.
I had to paint a tile, and that is still up
Mhm.
today.
Oh,
Um,
really? What did you
yeah,
paint?
I painted a basketball
It
and
was
cloud.
in a cloud.
But one of my friends works in that children's unit at that hospital, and they sent me a picture. They're like, Danica,
Oh, your name.
yes. So I hope that brings some other kid some joy. I'm artistically challenged. They're probably just like, well, this kid can draw, but you
They
know,
knew something was going on.
yeah. And as a young child, Daisha, like, how did you perceive my condition?
I can't say I gave much thought to it because I was so young. It was almost kind of like this is just what life is. And I suppose that was just kind of the adjustment for you too. It was just like this is what life is now. Um, yeah, I can't say I noticed like much of a difference. I think I recognize the conversations were being had now. Like you and mom would back and forth talk about counting all these carbohydrates and calories with that everything. Like I think I noticed that happening more. But I mean, I was oblivious before that. You guys could have been counting all sorts of numbers before, and I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. Just a random question. You remember when I used to start carrying around juice box? Did you ever like sneak a juice box?
I never snuck one, but I think that is what might have caused some disdain between us because you would get to like not only with juice box, you needed some sugar sometimes. So when you got to have gummies and I didn't get to have them, or I would like reach for some gummies, but mom would have to be like, "No, those are Danica's." I'd be like, you know, I was just like, what do you mean? I see them sitting there. Is she eating them currently? No. Like, let me have them.
Oh yeah, that had to be hard, especially like you're a kid, you're a baby, and you're like, "Oh, I want these." And mom's like,
Mhm.
"No, that doesn't happen."
Yeah, that was sad.
So, speaking of that frustration, how do you think my diagnosis affected our bond as siblings?
Mm, I don't think it did. I think that we're sisters just the same as whether, because I guess like as much as I want to feel some kind of way about what you're doing, like it was something going on in your life, so I think that you were always still kind and willing to play with me, so I don't think it affected it.
Okay, that's good. I think we were just so young and it was so new at that time. It's just I remember the whole family was like, "Yep, we got this. We got to roll." And as mom,
Yeah,
like this is when we got diabetes. So you have it too.
not as bad though. I
Yeah,
I'm not one for needles, so
you are one for gummies, so I guess
yes,
it probably worked out in your favor.
yes,
I know you don't recognize like any feelings or you don't think our bond was messed up, but can you remember a time where you had some just negative feelings? It could be like when I was getting extra snacks and you weren't. Did you? How did you cope with those feelings, or did you go to anyone for support or reassurance?
mm, I don't remember. I just don't think I don't think I said anything because I mean I'm sure it was a reoccurring thing. Like I would ask for something and be no because it's Danica's. So I think it was just like it was a constant conversation. So it was never like one time like it really made me butt hurt or anything. It was just like okay, I'll try tomorrow.
Oh, that's good. You're persistent. I like that. All right. So being younger, were there moments when you felt particularly worried or like concerned for me?
Yeah, I remember a couple of times we went out to dinner and I would just watch Anita go right next to me and I'm not I cannot do needles as gracefully as you do. So it was just kind of like a whew, glad it's not me, but like I didn't want it to be you either. I just ooh, it was hard, you know? Like and that was just like while I was with you cuz you had to do it all day while you were at school, da, 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 you know. That was just the times that I saw.
Yeah, I never thought about that. That had to be different, especially coming from like not seeing needles all the time to needles all over the house and all my test strips that were always over the floor because I was a messy teenager.
Actually, that might be something I was upset with you about is the test strips everywhere. They'd be in my closet. I'm like, how are you all the way in here? There are a lot of test strips everywhere for no reason. Everywhere.
Yeah, I have no idea. They just magically, it's like confetti.
It's like confetti. Test
Like my test strips were all over the house. That was my one chore all the time was like clean up your test strips.
strips.
Yeah. And that's that's just so funny to me. But when you think about us as siblings and like you not having an illness like I did, do you feel like you had to step in ways when like I might not have been able to help or anything like that?
um, I think it's become more of a thing as I got older because I know how to better take care of you. Because like sometimes it would be like, okay, Danica's low, so all the fun stops. But I mean, I was just a kid. I couldn't do anything, so I just kind of had to wait until you were up again. So I think now I'm a bit more sensitive to how you might be feeling in the moment. But yeah, back then I was just like, tick tock. Are you up yet? Okay, not yet. Okay, tick tock kind of thing.
Yeah. And now that you've grown up a little bit, and how has your understanding of type 1 diabetes evolved now that you're older and an adult?
I can't say I still completely understand at all. I know that there are areas you should be in, areas you shouldn't be in. There are some things that really affect you, like physical activity can really make you drop low until you have that orange juice, you have that snack, you have anything up again. So, I mean, still learning because that I just have the general big picture idea, and I know that's something you go through every day. But again, that's something you go through every single day and all I can be is supportive. I can do my best to understand, but it's probably still going to take a while.
Yes, and I think it's a never-ending disease and it's continually evolving. And as we've all grown up, that's something I've struggled with. It's like I'm managing my diabetes completely different from when I was diagnosed and we lived in the same house. So I'm like on diabetes like 4.0, and you guys were there with 1.0 and 2.0.
Right. That's been a new development, I feel like. It gave me some hope when I heard that, something might be going on, something's changed, and like it helps you understand you better. So every day, I mean, it's just as easy as it is for me, because I guess what's hard about it is you have a memory of when you didn't have to do this. You have a memory of when things shifted and how it got a little more difficult, because I've always known life to be the same way. No daily needles, no daily doses of insulin. And you know what that's like, and you don't experience life like that anymore.
Yeah. And
One
I think
second, Army, what do you have? What do
I
you
know the dog.
have? Oh, it's his.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
it's his.
Good. Um, so Daisha, when thinking about my diabetes
Mhm.
and just understanding, whoa, I come home, I have this disease. Like, you don't really remember me that much in detail before I was diabetic.
Mm-mm.
But as you learned about I have a disease, there's a bunch of things I can't do. Like, were you confused or scared at all?
No, it wasn't described to me as a disease. I think that's something that's different too. I can't even remember the words used, but I never saw you as ill or sick. Even when you weren't feeling well, it was a just not 100%. That's a word that mom uses all the time. Just not 100%, but it's somewhere you can always get back to. So it was never like a, oh, she's diseased, or anything like that. This is an illness. She's sick forever and always. It's just like, oh, well, we have a high and a low. It'll level itself out again.
Yes, that's good. I hadn't thought about that, but when I was just sitting here thinking about what I wanted to talk to you about, like if it was the other way around, I would have been like, what? Is she gonna leave Mars?
Oh,
Do this?
yeah.
And it's just our age gap and the difference. Like it's very different. But I liked how our parents positioned diabetes to you, because I was not in the mindset to one, accept it, two, to care, and three, to like.
At first, I think I was all about your diabetes because you came home from the hospital with the most adorable bear that I wanted so bad. I mean, I kind of had him because he was in the house. So he had little marks on his paws and on his belly and on his legs of where you could put your insulin shots. And I thought it was the cutest thing with all these little pads. And I remember I would always try and like sneak it away from your room so I could hang out with him. And then eventually, I think you did let me hang on to it for a little while, but it was just so cute.
That's cute. That's funny because it's like I remember the bear, but I don't remember what I did with it or what it was doing. Like it was just a reference
That's
point. It's like
because I stole it already. I have it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't have it. I would
there it
kind
is.
of be convinced if it's somehow in my stuffed animals in my stuffy boxes. But yeah, I think about that bear often.
Well, if I ever come across him, you can have him.
Yay!
Yeah. All right. So when thinking about, I guess, observations over the years, how have you seen my management and approach to diabetes change?
Man, you're all grown up. I mean, there are just so many different ways. I think that I mean, of course, with everything, it takes time, it takes practice, but now you can be proactive, and it's not a game of catch up anymore for you. You're just like, I know I have this coming on later. You know, before that, what might be going on? What kind of place will I be in? And not only that, and you just being responsible in other ways, the technology has caught up too, just to make things easier on you. And that's just been very special. I think that um, things would be different if you were diagnosed before you were. So I'd say that's a big win and a big blessing for us because it's just been manageable and has become even more so with time.
No, I think you're right.
But
I
your
definitely,
approach is another story. I would say that you embrace it. It used to be a hush hush, like let me hide my pump in any way, form, kind of thing possible. And for I want to say it was sixth or seventh grade. I had a science fair. Do you remember this? I had science fair, and I had to come up with an invention. So da da da. What did I do? I thought of somewhere you could put your pump because you were getting ready to go to like all these formals and everything. And I remember going dress shopping, and you were just like, "Where am I going to put this pump though? Like, I only have 2 hours that I could leave it off if I was going to do this kind of dress, but then after those 2 hours are up, like I got to put it back on, and where do I put it?" And that was my goal with my science project. Is I tried to like make this little band to put around your waist or around your legs, so you could have it somewhere else.
yeah,
So I think that you are okay if your pump is seen nowadays. You embrace it, you welcome it. You're like, look at my pump, it's a cute pink. Let's talk about it. Do you have one too? Where are my pump buddies at? So it's just like it's not something to hide anymore, and I think that's very special. It is you, it's a part of you. It might not have been your favorite part, might never be your favorite part, but it is what it is, and you're making it very beautiful now.
I appreciate that because I remember those times where I was like, I just don't want to wear anything. Like, I was a tomboy, I was an athlete. All I wanted to do was like wear my sports attire, nothing else. I didn't want anything out there to make me more different because I was very unique and killing it. I didn't feel like anything extra. And I saw like, I think I saw diabetes as an option for a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, and it wasn't an option, but I knew how to like do the best minimum to
Right.
like keep mom and dad off my back, keep my endos off my back, keep my coaches, just like to still have my life. But I still like, I just don't remember when it wasn't like my whole village had diabetes and everyone knew what was going on. And I think that probably went into like my decision to just not want to wear this stuff because everyone already knew what was going on. Everyone's involved, which is great. But it's like you guys aren't having to sit here and wear this thing. It doesn't get stuck on your doorknobs, and it's it wasn't cute.
And I think you need to give yourself some credit too, because like this happened like in the midst of middle school. Like everybody think you feel as though everybody thinks these kinds of things about you, and like you said, you didn't want to be different. And I guess I mean no other kids in class were counting numbers and doing units of insulin and everything constantly throughout their day. They just got to hang out in class. So yeah, it did make you different, and during a very difficult time in life too, because normally kids just are like, "Oh no, is that a pimple?" And you're like, "Ah, my pump, you can see it."
Yes, it was one of those things. Like I was at that time, I thought I was pretty cool. That's subject to other people at the time doesn't matter, but I just was a vibe. I was killing it in my sports. I had great friends. I didn't want anything else. I didn't want anyone to worry about me, and I feel like that's all that everyone did.
Yeah.
Which knowing myself at that age, yeah, I would have probably worried about me too because I was a risk taker in every aspect and everything I did, and probably that and a chronic illness with that's very time demanding and time sensitive could have some issues. You know, um, well, Daisha, so are there any like moments or milestones in my journey that you think impacted our family the most?
Oh gosh, I don't know really. Um, I would say maybe all I can think of is last year. Last year, our parents were out of town, and right before they left, they wanted to check on you. They always check on all of us, but they always check in with Danica. because you're the diabetic. We want to make sure you didn't forget anything. You didn't get to like your pump was always working, your Dexcom was always communicating, and you were the only one they had not heard from. And the whole trip was almost canceled until we heard from you. You just like you were sleeping in. It was like a Saturday or something. You had some extra time, but like it was like something happened. The diabetic is not responding. Can you pull up anything? Like, what's her last reading? So that was something different, because I think that was the first experience I had with something like that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like all of these things could have gone wrong. Like, what if she thought her pump was giving her doses of insulin for the past 9 hours, but it wasn't? Like, oh no. So it was just it was an eye opener. And I mean, like, back to that too, like, as although we have technology on your side now, like what if it just didn't work at some point and we thought it was, and then like, too late. So it's hard. And I mean, I guess it is good that you have that experience of how to actually measure out, insulin, and where to jab yourself if you have to. But yeah, that was different. That was a crazy day in the family. No
Yes,
sleeping in for the diabetic.
I don't think the family's ever gonna let me live that down. And
No,
what
we just had no idea.
it
Because
was
you're
like,
you're usually so early. You're up before I am on the East Coast. Yeah.
yes, I just was up binging Netflix, which happens like once a quarter because I
Yep.
don't Netflix that often, and I slept in, which for normal people that's okay, but like when you have people that are checking in on you and caring, it's different. And what was funny was my diabetes was fine.
Yeah.
It was You guys, I was literally sleeping. You can see where I'm at. You could see that I mean, but still, like, I think as a family member, as a parent, like, that worry is probably never going to go away. Even though I've never been in the hospital since diabetes
Yeah.
for diabetes things, and I've been okay somehow these past 17 years. I don't know how, but here I am. All right. So, Daisha, when you think about like others, people that might just now being diagnosed, because right now people are getting diagnosed in their like 40s, 50s, or late 20s, which is bizarre to me. But everyone has, not everyone, a lot of people have siblings. What do you wish others knew about having a sibling with type 1 diabetes?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one. Um, I think I probably wish, like, maybe I wish they knew like what the daily looks like for you, because it's hard to understand. And like I didn't really know at the time. It wasn't really much of my job to be um supportive, but I was always there. I was always present, but I wasn't supportive. I just didn't know what was going on. So I think if they just knew how to be supportive while all this is going on, then that would be so very helpful. Because like eventually after time, I'd be like, "Hey, Danica, you want one of these juice boxes?" Or like, "Hey, Danica, your stuff is over here." Or, "Oh, I know where there's another test strip. Let me go grab it." Or like even at some of your doctor's appointments, because I was there for a lot of them, how to just sit with you, because it's a long process during those appointments. So just how to keep you company, or talk to you about this, keep your mind off of it, keep your mind on it, or and just anyway, like, "Oh, I've got this spare journal. Do you want to write down all of your highs and lows of the week on it?" I don't know, just any way to make them feel like it's I'm not like too much in your business, but I'm there if you need me.
I think that's good advice. And you were supportive. I don't think you knew just because you were a baby, but like there were signs like, Daisha, get Danica a juice box. Daisha, find Danica a snack. Like, which I'm sure gets annoying because you're like, I want to eat this. I would have definitely ate it. But you were doing that stuff from age 4 and 5 and your whole life. I think even to this day when we're all together, they're like, Danica, like, do you need some gummies? Do you need this? But you guys are
You're
always,
not you when you're hungry. You need to sponsor Snickers.
I might. I get a little hangry, like when it doesn't explain it. But I think just as a sibling, having to go through something, for you, it was just kind of a way of life. For Daryl, it's probably completely different because he was off in college when I was diagnosed. So I don't know. I think he's still trying to figure out, what do you have? What's wrong with you? Like, I knew
Yeah.
something was your whole life, but
And I think we're both in that position because I was just like so young. So I'm like, oh, I understand how the body works now and like how it needs these nutrients or how it processes food. And then this happens. So I had a young brain and he just wasn't here to like hear it from the start. So he's just like playing a game of catch up.
yeah. And I think it's a continual journey, not just for me, but also for my family and my villages. So I am so glad that you've been a part of this. You mentioned something about really your nutrition and carbs and all that stuff. So when thinking about that, how has my journey influenced how you approach your health and your wellness and your perspective in general?
I can't say it hasn't too much. I've always just been able to eat what I want, and since you've been gone, I've eaten every single gummy that I wanted to. So I would say just like there are some times where I'm like, maybe you don't need those gummies right now, because obviously my diabetes would not be the same if I were to develop it. There are different types, and you are a different type than what I could develop. But I'm just like, let's be mindful. Like, how might this affect you long term? You did mention how some people do understand that they have been diagnosed at a later age and stage in life. And I guess technically, I'm not in the clear yet, but, just like maybe every blue moon, a healthier choice is made. But yeah, I still kind of eat just about the same.
Well, that is a blessing for you.
Mhm.
That's our difference right here. I mean, I eat what I want, of course, but it's all moderation. And I have to make choices and plan for it, which that's something I've learned over the years because you know me back in the day, it was not like that. Like I could sit there and eat like a whole cake by myself and mom would be like, "What did you just do?" I'd be like, "Hey, I want cake."
Proudly. You'd say that proudly too.
Yep. And I've grown up. Best way to put it. I have grown up, but I'm as healthy as I can be, and it's really unique to even see how much I've changed, especially looking back at our time when like we were little and just figuring things out to now where it's like, whoa, I help other people with this, and I talk about this all the time, and I actually know what I'm talking about, and I'm still alive.
Hey.
Yes. Daisha, I have a couple more questions for you. So, I started my company, Dialogue the Insulin for Your Soul. And how do you feel about like my work and my mission just on really helping other diabetics live their best lives and not to feel limited by their disease?
I am so proud of it. I want to be as supportive as I can. I don't know anything about running a business, but I'm very happy. I'm very happy that it's something that you're passionate about and something that you are. And I mean, in a way, you're kind of giving back. I know that there were some mentors that you have that kind of talked you through what life would be like in the future and everything. And I think that you are really just having a positive outlook on what life is now. So I think that's great because I think when we first got diagnosed, it was the elephant in the room. We don't talk about it, don't look at it, don't think about it. And now it's just like, hey guys, it's Danica the Diabetic. Like, let's talk. What do you want to know? And it's just, I'm proud of you. That's a
No,
that's a that's a 180 right there.
that is a 180. And I appreciate your support. And one thing I have been thinking about when building out dialogue is really the focus around the family and siblings because like mom has always said, like we have diabetes. We got it back in 2005, just when you did. Our family made drastic changes, which I think we were encouraged to do, but it's not necessarily the right move in my pieces of it. And you have to learn how to adjust. But I don't think you have to just go like get everything out of your fridge. One, it's waste money, waste of resources. But two, like figure out what's going to work for you and your family, especially if it's a younger kid.
But
But
at the
think,
same time, we know that now, you know? It's just
yes,
like, at the time, it's just like, we can't find a single soul who knows what's going on. And now you're making yourself a resource, which is very special. You know, like when you were diagnosed, how many people could you count on one hand that had the same diagnosis as you?
one.
One, you know? Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
That's wild to me.
Yes, and I think that's what really inspired me because it's like dialogue's powered by community because that's something I didn't have outside of like my home or our family's groups, but not people that were doing the same walk I was doing every day. So in dialogue, that's something I really want to put in. That's part of my why. And I ask you, in what ways do you think raising awareness about diabetes benefits like siblings and families?
Um, I would say it benefits because, as you're saying, we're not alone. So everything that you're feeling, everything that you're having questions on, you know, there is somebody with an idea of what you're feeling, what's going on, and how to keep living around it. You know, how to just keep moving on, and you know, keep going forward, because it's not the end of the world at all, you know. You just got to be mindful.
Absolutely. All right. I know we just have a couple minutes left, but I wanted to ask you, what would you say to other siblings of diabetics who are just now starting their journey with their older siblings?
Hey, do you know about my sister Danica? You know, she went through the same process. So I think that it's really a success story. Like you said, you haven't been back to the hospital since. There's no need. You've been working. It's a fight every day. It's an adaptation every day, and it's something that you just learned how to take on. And so it's just like, listen to me. This is not the end of the world. World. Danica is doing just fine right now, and you guys are going to be just fine too.
I think that's good advice. Um, the bonds of siblings, people don't talk about as enough, but I mean, you spend most of your life with your siblings if you think about it. And I don't know, I'm just lucky to have you and our dear brother. And even though I'm far away in some senses, I see you guys often, and you guys always try to prepare and help, even when I don't need it. But you guys still care, and which is nice because I know I don't have to do that to the same levels for you guys. It's much different. In our closing, Dacia, just one more question. Are there any special memories or positive aspects related to my diabetes,
Oh
the
gosh.
overall journeys I've had to cherish?
Um, I can't say any memories, but moments, yes. You don't know this, but I meet a lot of people at work every single day. And there have been so many where once I'm done having a conversation with them, I'll see a little Dexcom on their arm. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's just like Danica. And it's really special to see all the different shapes and sizes that they have. And then the little sweet babies, they'll actually have like some really beautiful band-aids on it, like just to keep it like attached and everything and make sure you don't bump into it. But I'm like, oh my gosh, yours is so cute. Does Danica know that it comes in these colors? You can get these band-aids across. So I think that it's just to know that we aren't alone. And just that's like a little unspoken thing. It's just like, even though that's maybe something that they don't want to talk about, I can respect that. I can understand that. But I also know that they are just going through a strong fight every day. And maybe we're lucky enough that it's not a fight. It's just life, and life is happy. It's not a fight at all. It's something that you can control, something that you can work with during the day. Even if you can't control it, it is what it is, and you can just keep moving on.
No, you're right. And those are super cute moments. I love meeting diabetics in the wild, and I never even thought about you or anyone else meeting them in the wild, which
Yeah, all the time.
I'm like that crazy person that's like, oh my gosh, diabetic, let's take a picture, let's do this. Like I'm
Yeah.
far more calm, but it is exciting. It's like it is a little reminder that we're not alone and there's someone else going through this and there's someone else getting as many as alerts as I am. And they're out here, whatever they're doing, they're still doing it. They're finding joy in their life, even while trying to manage a disease. I like to preach like, how do you thrive with it? I like to thrive with my diabetes every day. It could be every day's different. I might thrive in different ways, but I find a way to thrive.
That's right.
Well, Daisha, thank you so much for coming on Highs and Hellos. And
Chloe.
this was really a hello to my baby sister. No big drops or anything like that. We have been siblings for a long time, and it's just great to have you on this journey. And I love that you're continuing to be interested in this big piece of me because it's something I can't get rid of, but it isn't something that completely defines me.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you. And I'm excited that you got my sweet little friend who, if I could have a diabetes alert dog, your dog, I would just
I
borrow.
know.
But can't lose a diabetes alert dog. It's a lot of things. I'll do an episode on those, but like I have a cute little nephew who's a dog who just brings me that joy and like it makes me think it's like, oh, would a dog be better for me than a device or would both? Like I don't know. But being able to at least have that access to being around a dog for someone who hasn't had one in a long time, it's been nice. And just getting used to like, hey, I have all these strings on me or these devices, like you're gonna jump on me, but it's not. Are they gonna knock them off? And it's like, no, it's very good. So even Charming has been helpful on my journey.
He's the bestest.
Well, thank you so much, Daisha. And you guys stay tuned to more episodes throughout this month. We are interviewing everyone in my family just to hear their perspectives because diabetes is nothing any of us asked for, but it has impacted every single person in my family. So I'm excited just to hear their perspectives. And thank you so much, Daisha, for coming on and just giving us your perspective.
Of course. Bye.
Bye.